there. So I'm sharing the actual court document. Um, it's actually public record from the Department of Justice. This is against six um, people. Massachusetts was reported in the media basically some bribery scheme, but it was so much more than that. So these are the actual charges. This is the court record from the United States District Court, District of Massachusetts. And this regards the six defendants that are named. And unfortunately, as the media reported, there are two unnamed individuals, including one current state trooper of Massachusetts. And I have a big problem with that because the defense, and I don't know, maybe they do know. Maybe they were aware of this and maybe they went to look and make sure that none of the people involved in their case, including supervisors overseeing, are people charged. Because if they are, that's what exculpatory evidence that the defense actually has a right to know. Okay. But it may also be a little bit insight of why specifically the FBI is investigating this trooper, because they have a serious problem right now with the Massachusetts State Trooper. And this is long overdue. I watched Trial 4 documentary where the Boston police had schemes that were acknowledged by people in law enforcement and courts for decades, and the state never did prosecute anybody. Anywho's, so this is Department of Justice. I'm going to share with you these indictments, and this is all of these things. Keep in mind, two unnamed people that we at this time do not know who that trooper is. Could be somebody that's testifying Karen Reed's trial or supervising that trooper. I hate this. What Microsoft is saying. Okay, so this is criminal number 24CR10024. The violations, and it's a lot. And when the feds decide they're going to prosecute, they wait, and then they have a lot. So I hope that after this trial, they see the many different inconsistencies and obvious lies that they've told, that they can get many charges on. Anywho, here you have Gary Cedarquist, Calvin Butner, Perry Mendez, Joel Rogers, Scott Camera, and Eric Matheson. And then again, keep in mind there's two other unnamed persons, including one state trooper. We do not know who that is. Violations, counts 1 to 3, conspiracy to falsify records. Counts 4 to 6, conspiracy to commit extortion. Counts 7 to 9, extortion. Counts 10 to 15, honest services mail fraud. 16 to 43, falsification of records. Counts 44 to 46, falsification of records, aiding and abetting. I think the judge aided and abetted Lowley's collusion and subordinate perjury when they specifically knew that there was allegations that Chloe bit and attacked other people, and there was hospital records, and they knew that. And then allow the Alberts to say on the stand that there was no incidents whatsoever except for it attacked another dog. That was clearly contrary to the evidence that they have possession of. In fact, they impounded the animal control records so the public cannot get those records. So that is aiding and abetting. That is colluding. That I think that the judge and the prosecutor and all of them should be prosecuted, including the Alberts, for saying that there was no incidents. Not whether or not Chloe was guilty, but no, that there was no incidents. Okay, so moving along. Counts 47 to 70, false statements. Well, there sure is a lot of them in this case. Count 71 to 73, false statements, aiding and abetting, under, I believe, this different statutes. This one. Count 74, perjury. Forfeiture allegation. And the general allegations that these are the residents of the defendants, your agency of Commonwealth of Massachusetts, responsible for law enforcement and vehicle regulation across the Commonwealth, that these four people and a person identified herein as the trooper conspirator, see, they're not being named, and it could be that person is an informer has maybe been given protection as a cooperating witness. I don't know. All I know is the defense of Karen Reed has a right to know who that trooper was, to make sure that it's not somebody who's testifying in court, because they have a right to present that. That's absolutely exculpatory evidence. Okay. Was employed by Massachusetts Police. Centerquist was a sergeant. Butner, Mendez, Rogers, and the trooper conspirator were troopers. The laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and MSP directives, rules, and orders set forth ethical standards of conduct for MSP troopers who were state employees. Such laws and rules prohibited the troopers from soliciting or accepting things of value in return for the performance of their official duties. Remember, in the Karen Reed trial, where there was, in fact, an accusation of them giving gifts after it was all over with? Okay, that's very important. And I'm sure that the FBI and the Department of Justice is looking very closely at those statements. Such laws and rules prohibited MSP troopers from soliciting or accepting things of value in return for the performance of their official duties or taking part in matters in which they had a financial interest. MSP also required all troopers to be truthful at all times and prohibited troopers from filing false statements or reports. Centerquist, Butner, Mendez, Rogers, and the trooper conspirator were members of the MSP's Commercial Driver's Licensing Unit, the CDL unit, during the following time periods. Centerquist from in or about 2017 until a date no earlier than January 5th, 2023. Butner from in or about 2015 until a date no earlier than January 5th, 2023. Mendez from in or about 2014 until on or about April 12th, 2022. Rogers from on or about January 9th, 2022 until a date no earlier than January 5th, 2023. Trooper conspirator from in or about 2016 until a date no earlier than January 5th, 2023. So if this trooper conspirator was working in this unit, then he probably was not involved in the Karen Reed case. But I still think that the supervisor over all of these people, to include Proctor, that is all this happened on his watch, and especially after what Proctor was doing. I think it should be allowed to be verified that they were not in any way involved. Cedarquist, Butner, Mendez, Rogers, and the trooper conspirator were trained and authorized to and did administer the skills test to applicants for Massachusetts commercial driver's licenses during the following time periods. 2018 to January 5th, February 16th. So this one right here did not start in that department until after John O'Keefe's death. From or about February 16, 2022 until a date no earlier than January 5th. Okay, so this person, the trooper conspirator, the unnamed, one of the two unnamed people, was working for them until January 5th, 2023. Kamara was a friend of Cedarquist. Kamara worked for a truck driving school in Brockton, Massachusetts. Massachusetts was a friend of Cedarquist. Matheson worked for Spring Water Company, had warehouse in Massachusetts. The water company did business in affecting interstate commerce. Person identified herein as the friend conspirator was a friend of Cedarquist. The friend conspirator worked for construction management and general contracting firm in Nashua, New Hampshire. The friend conspirator also had a side business performing construction-related work. Relevant background talks about the skills tests. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, FMCSA, was part of the United States Department of Transportation. FMCSA was charged with the nationwide regulation of the trucking and motor carrier industry. Its mission was to prevent commercial motor vehicle-related deaths and injuries. Drivers required to possess a CDL to operate certain heavy or large vehicles, such as tractor trailers and school buses. Class A CDL in order to operate, and they had to be 21. Let's just put that out there. And you had 18-year-olds out there. In order to operate any combination of vehicles with a gross combination weight rating over 26,000 pounds, provided gross vehicle rating of the vehicle being towed was over 10,000 pounds, drivers required to have a Class B CDL in order to operate any single vehicle with GVWR over 26,000 pounds, or any such vehicle towing a vehicle with GVWR less than 10,000 pounds. A driver was required to have a Class C CDL in order to operate any single vehicle or combination of vehicles that met neither the Class A definition nor the Class B definition, but was designed to transport more than 15 passengers, including the driver, was used in transportation of hazardous materials. Although CDL licensing standards were established by federal regulations, testing and issuance of CDLs were handled by the states. Oh boy. Before a person could take the skills test in Massachusetts for a certain class of CDL A, B, or C, they were required to obtain a commercial learner's permit for that class. To do so, the applicant had to take and pass certain written tests administered at the Massachusetts Registry of Motor Vehicles. Usually they were exempt under the regulations. A CDL applicant also was required to pass a US DOT medical exam before they could take the skills test. The only persons authorized to administer the CDL skills test in Massachusetts were the Massachusetts State Police Troopers in the CDL unit who had been trained to administer the skills test. Federal regulations determine the requirements for the CDL skills test. The test consists of 3 segments. Vehicle inspection. Examiner tested the applicant's knowledge of the vehicle by asking them to identify and answer questions about various parts of the vehicle. Basic control skills. Examiner tested the applicant's ability to perform certain maneuvers in their test vehicle. The examiner tested the applicant's ability to drive a commercial vehicle on an open roadway. The examiner sat in the passenger seat while the applicant drove the test vehicle. Skills test was offered at several locations in Massachusetts, including Stoughton. They mostly tested out of Stoughton during their daytime shifts. The Stoughton yard had an officer trailer for the troopers to use. The Massachusetts RMV was required to provide an FMCSA-approved examiner manual to all MSP troopers in the CDL unit who were authorized to administer the skills test. The manual contained, among other things, details on how to conduct the skills test. Scoring procedures. Reason for an automatic test failure. Manual was written by the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators. So there was one exception. Prior to October 1st, 2019, all skills tests for commercial vehicles that carried passengers, like school buses, motor coaches, they were administered by trained employees of the Massachusetts Department of Public Utilities. That was before October 1st, 2019. The manual advised examiners of the following test requirements, among others: the vehicle inspection, basic control skills, AAMVA is the Tax Exempt Nonprofit or Association developing model programs in motor vehicle administration, law enforcement, and highway safety. State must provide FMCSA pre-approved examiner information manual that conforms to model requirements and paragraphs. Road test. Application for Class A or Class B CDL was permitted no more than 30 years to pass this segment. Part of the road test had to take place on the highway. If the applicant took and passed their skills test in a vehicle without air brakes, or if the vehicle had air brakes but the applicant failed the air brakes test, their CDL included an air brakes restriction. If the applicant took and passed the skills test in a vehicle with automatic transmission, their CDL included a manual transmission restriction. How the CDL skills were conducted. Applicant for skills tests required to make an appointment for a specific location, date, time. Appointments were scheduled 1.5 hour blocks with 30 minutes allowed to each test segment. RMV schedule or a member of MSP's CDL unit assigned a specific trooper to administer the test. Appointment and test result information was kept electronically in the Commercial Skills Test Information Management System, a system developed by AAMVA through an agreement with FMCSA. CSTIMS is an internet-based tool that provides jurisdictions, including Massachusetts, and a third-party examiners a consistent way to track the scheduling and entry of test results for commercial driving skills tests. It was developed in 2002 in response to U.S. Department of Transportation's Office of Inspector General's report on large-scale fraud in the issuance of commercial driver's license across the United States. Anyways, final report and self-sustainability plan for March 2014. The trooper conspiracy each had a CSTIMS account. When the applicant arrived at their appointment, they were required to bring their driver's license, CDL permit, their US DOT medical card if applicable, and a vehicle that matched the class of CDL they were seeking. In addition, they had to be accompanied by a sponsor who was required to hold a CDL for the class of vehicle the applicant was going to use for the skills test. They were required to bring and complete parts of double-sided CDL road test application. Information application included, among other things, applicant's identification information and signature, the class of CDL for which the applicant had a permit, whether the test vehicle had air brakes and or manual transmission, that make year, registration number, and state and GVWR of the test vehicle, sponsor's information and signature, date and location of the test, section on which the examiner wrote, whether the applicant had passed or failed each test segment, and the examiner's signature. An applicant was required to pass this test segment in order to move on to the next segment that same day. Applicant had limited amount of time to successfully complete a test segment. As the applicant performed the skills test, trooper administering the test scored the applicant on double-sided CDL's test score sheet. The trooper indicated on the score sheet whether the test vehicle had air brakes and whether it had automatic or manual transmission. He entered the vehicle inspection score, basic control skill score, and the road test score on the score sheet. If the test vehicle had air brakes, the trooper also indicated whether the applicant passed the air brakes test. The back of the permit contained blocks for the vehicle inspection test, the air brakes test, road test, different maneuvers. If the applicant passed one of these test segments or completed one of the maneuvers, the examiner stamped the block or the blocks and returned the permit to the applicant. MSP was responsible for retaining completed road test applications and score sheets. The overall pass rate for the CDL skills test in Massachusetts was 48% in 2019, 44% in 2020, 41% in 2021, and 41% in 2022. Troopers entered skills test results at CSTIMS, which transmitted the data electronically to the RMV's computer system. If a CDL was authorized, it was mailed to the licensee. The trooper who administered an applicant's skill test was responsible for inputting the test results they had written on the score sheet into CSTIMS. Determine whether number scores inputted by the trooper constituted passing scores. So the CSTIMS automatically transmitted the test results data to the RMV's computer system if the data showed the applicant had passed all three segments of the skills test, and if the applicant had paid all the required fees and had no outstanding tickets or other impediments. RMV's computer system automatically authorized issuance of the applicant's CDL and notified a vendor to create and mail the CDL to the licensee. Skills test scores were material to the issuance of CDLs, and whether or not they met the requirements and whether they could issue the CDL. An entry in the CSTIMS representing applicant with passing scores took their skills test into a Class A vehicle was material to RMV's decision whether the applicant met the FMCSA requirements for and whether they could get for Class A CDL. So an entry in CSTIMS representing that an applicant passing scores took the skills test in the vehicle with air brakes and passed their air brakes test was material to RMV's decision whether the applicant met FMCSA requirements for and thus whether RMV could issue a CDL without air brakes restriction. Entry into that representing applicant with passing scores took their skills test in the vehicle with manual transmission was material to RMV's decision whether or not the applicant met the requirements and could get a CDL without a manual transmission restriction. So an applicant referred to herein as Water Company Employee Number 1 had a New Hampshire's driver's license but was allowed to and did take the CDL's test in Massachusetts. Unlike Massachusetts, the computer system used by New Hampshire's Division of Motor Vehicles received skills test results from AAMVA via email. If the email indicated the applicant had passed their skills test and if they had paid all the required fees and had no outstanding tickets or other impediments, the New Hampshire DMV arranged for a permanent CDL to be manufactured and mailed to the licensee. The conspiracy among these defendants and the trooper conspirator to falsify records by entering passing scores for certain applicants whether or not they passed. The object of the conspiracy was to falsify records with intent to influence a matter within the jurisdiction of USDOT. Manner and means of the conspiracy is basically known and unknown to the grand jury. Carried out the conspiracy were the following. They gave passing scores, basically whether or not they passed the skills test, bottom line. Overt acts and furtherance of the conspiracy are as follows. Did 1030 pass today? Yes, sir, he got the golden handshake. Knowing it was false, said that they passed it. Your buddy passed yesterday, owed you that, an automatic fail leaving the door open. And also did not have 3 points of contact. They came out forward instead of backwards, but they passed thanks to you. On August 23rd, 2019, he texted, "Good morning, sir. What's the name of the person today that gets the golden treatment?" He replied, and then, gave that person's name for Lieutenant. That's scary that there's somebody who's a lieutenant, LT, name redacted. On January 20th, 2020, I'm doing a golden handshake. What are you scheduled for? Like they're bragging that they're doing a golden handshake. That's messed up. Oh boy. Yeah, you get the picture. Do I really need to read the rest of it? I mean, I'll put the link in the description. I think Trooper A wrote back, Seekonk Firefighter. Firefighter, people. Please take care of blank, blank, blank. Grind of a trooper friend of mine. Grind of a trooper friend of mine. So you have troopers that are benefit from this also. Grind of a trooper friend of mine. Please take care of this grind of a trooper friend of mine. So state troopers are benefiting. Yeah, but we don't get to know who they are because they're redacted, right? Actually, the media was a little bit omissive. There's several people that's omitted. Oh my gosh, firefighter, trooper that you can see right here. There's more than 2 people's names redacted. Oh my goodness. Laugh aloud. He owes you a prime ridge 6-inch. Does these text messages kind of sound familiar? Like certain person's gonna get a gift after they do their report. You remember that in the trial? And who's on we go. Exchange the following text. Oh dear, the firefighters are involved. I'm sorry, blank, 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 firefighters. He will be fine though. Oh my gosh, saying the firefighters couldn't drive for nothing, but they got their license anyways. Wow. Oh my goodness. Sergeant, your first guy works for a good friend. He's going to be the sponsor. The guy's first name, applicant 5, had his license, but it was downgraded due to self-cert stuff. Please give him a golden shake. Attached photo. This is a trooper conspirator. So you have firefighters and troopers that are benefiting from this scheme. Okay. I need his boss to grass my front lawn. If he's a loser, all favors are off. Blank, blank, blank. A lot of profanity. No name, no, and then name redacted. But I'll take care of this guy for you. He's not there. What the blank? He had an application. The guy's a landscaper. I said to him, you don't want me to give me blank like you did the people from the RMV on the phone, do you? No, sir, I don't think so, I said. Good blank with him. Sergeant, thank you very much. So you have sergeants involved. Okay. There's a lot of people involved in here that's not even being mentioned by the media. Oh boy. While testing, Butner texted Golden Mist, and then I don't know how they get the smiley faces in this text here, but he's a nice guy. Butner replied, yeah, he is. He'll be fine. And then this is just basically, I think, going over the same things that I just showed the actual text for. But the Braintree off over who was shot and K9 killed. Tomorrow, brother-in-law. So they're talking about cops that are also involved in this scheme. They're not going after the people, all the people that were on the receiving end of this golden treatment. Just the ones who were issuing the unlawful CDLs. So you've got cops involved, firefighters involved, state troopers involved. Okay, I think that the defense had a right to know about this. All the names that are redacted, that is not right. It's not right. Why are they redacting these names like this? Anywho's, my friend blank, name redacted, starts with P. Sun town of Canton. Dun, 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 dun. Sun town of Canton. What kind of word is that? My friend P, name redacted, Sun town of Canton. What does that even mean? What is Sun town of Canton? But you got Canton in there, okay? Does the defense know about this? Right? That people are involved in this criminal scheme from Canton. Cops, troopers, firefighters. So Butner wrote, my friend, he's this trooper who's saying my friend, P, name redacted, Suntown of Canton. Half owner of blank, blank, blank. Half owner of blank, blank, blank. So that people should be able to figure out who that is. Find out who the owners of towing companies are. And it has 2 owners, one that begins with P. Then you'll figure out who ain't really a good driver that got their driver's license on the lam. I think you can figure him out. Oh my goodness. He's a mess. Class A truck. 2 PSA loss with truck running. Truck cut art again while timing. And they're laughing at these people that they're giving license to. This is horrible. Oh my gosh. Falsely reported in CTIMS the applicant 13 had passed a Class A skills test. Then they're laughing about it. If this guy's friend or relative, he takes case of the police. So you have the police involved, you have the firefighters, you got the troopers, and you've got local people who drive vehicles locally, tow truck driving. Oh my word. How many people's out there that should not have licenses for real? It doesn't say that they redacted all these people's licenses. I don't know. Maybe they did. Anywho, they didn't get them. They didn't charge them. You know, I guess maybe they couldn't prove that they knew, but you know, I don't know. Anyways, He got these guys. Performed only 2 or 3 required maneuvers. Total mess, this guy. I think sometimes we should just do what we can, but not Golden. I'll tell you about it later. I'm not. Okay, I'm sure he's doing great. These guys. Oh my gosh. Your 0900 tomorrow, referring to applicant 16, is a Golden. He works for my friend who's bringing him, and his dad is a retired Foxborough police officer. Tell him to bring his A game. I don't blank around. For people who don't think there's conspiracies, could you just reconsider? Thank you. Anyways, on January 5th, 2023, Cedar Crest texted Rogers, please take care of blank. Today he's engaged to my buddy's daughter. Name of applicant 17, Golden, please. The conspiracy between Cedar Crest and Camaro to falsely report that he administered Class A skills test to 4 troopers in October 2021, that all 4 had passed. So now you have 4 state troopers who are not listed in this case in October 2021, part of this conspiracy. The object of the conspiracy was to falsify records with the intent to influence a matter with the jurisdiction of the United States Department of Transportation. The purpose of the conspiracy was for Cedar Crest and Camaro to give preferential treatment to 4 Class A CDL applicants who were MSB troopers. Matter and the means of conspiracy. Carried out conspiracy with the following: representing on road test application. He served as their sponsor. Information on road trap applications that they had taken skills tests in a cab with attached trailer, which was required for the vehicle to classify as Class A vehicle, knowing the troopers took the test in a cab without a trailer. Falsely representing that they registered the road test to each 4 troopers, knowing the Camaro was the only person who rode in the cab with each trooper. Falsely representing that each trooper took and passed Class A skills test, knowing the troopers did not pass the road test and they drove a vehicle which did not qualify as a Class A vehicle. Overt acts in furtherance of the conspiracy between on or about October 5th, 2021 and on about 6th, 2021 of October. Unknown co-conspirators. So now we have even more people that are not named, and co-conspirators, and we don't even know how many, and unknown to the grand jury, committed and caused to be committed the following overt acts, among others, in furtherance of the conspiracy. Trooper A and Trooper B. On or about October 5th, 2021, Camaro wrote his name, identification, information, his signature, and the sponsor information. Section Trooper A's, Trooper B's road test applications, knowing that he was not the sponsor for either of them. I mean, this just goes on and on and on. This is bad, guys. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I think you get the picture to what the media presented. There's 2 unnamed people. Oh my gosh. That's why I always tell people, I don't go by what the media says. I go and I dig and I get the court records, because people, please share this. I think this is important just to show, for anybody that's out there who really has doubt that conspiracies exist. There's so many people involved in this scheme. You have putting people's lives at risk out there with people, you've got state troopers, you've got police, you've got firefighters, you've got tow truck drivers, you've got just random CDL. I mean, and it's all this special treatment. This is my buddy, this is my friend, this is my buddy, this is my friend, take care of him. Why wasn't this case used in the Karen Reed's trial? They have to present that then people take care of their own, and they do get special treatment. And these kinds of conspiracies, they really exist. Why wasn't this case used? Was it? I didn't see, and I looked at all the pretrial hearings. I didn't hear any of this. And this was available since January 21st. This is public record. So this is a classic example of how this is my buddy. Take care of my buddy. Give him special treatment. Falsify a record for him. How is this not relevant to Karen Reed's trial? Because that's what they have to present, is that they're going to falsify police reports, which they did. Stephen Seraph testified that, yes, this is false. These police officers did not show up on that scene at that time, because they're saying that she said such and such, she said such and such, she said such and such. They weren't even there. The police report was testified to be false by a police officer. See what I'm saying? So I really think this has relevance. And so I'm curious as to your feedback. And I would appreciate, if you just share this, however you want to share it. I don't really care. Just share it, and put it on, you can use the share button on this video, or just, I'll put a link in the description, just share it in a text message, copy paste the link in text message, email, Facebook, make it go viral, because the timing to expose this is really important, so the public really can see how they do get special treatment. Because a lot of these people in here, in this particular case, are police officers, firefighters, state troopers, friends of police officers, friends of firefighters, friends of troopers. You see what I'm